Welcome to Art with Miss Amelia. Today we're going to be quilling together. This is a traditional art form that can be found in many cultures around the globe, and it's actually been practiced for thousands of years and is attributed to the ancient Egyptians. I tend to keep scraps of paper after other projects I do, so quilling is actually a fun way to use up what I have left over. So in order to get started, you're going to need a form, maybe a heavy-duty nail, or as I picture here, I'm using a little screwdriver. You're going to need whatever scraps you keep around, probably some scissors to be able to cut the scraps into equivalent thin strips, and some glue to glue the pieces together, and some sort of backing material to make your design upon. I'm just going to use a sheet of construction paper. Or if you prefer, you can use a 3D object such as a box, something to decorate. Quilling requires lots of little strips of paper, so using whatever scraps you have around, use your scissors to cut relatively even thickness strips. Then, using your form, in my case it's this screwdriver that's got like a thick side and a thin side, you take a strip and you carefully wind it around your form until it's all the way or most of the way to the end of your paper strip. So this coil, try and keep it tightly wound. You can see I'm using a lot of pressure with my fingers until we get far enough down here that, I think we're almost there. Give it a little bit more space. And then you can tear off any excess you don't need. You can see I have a little spring coil now. So if I get it to the density that I want and put a little dab of glue on it, tuck it in, press it down. I can give it a little squeeze to make sort of a floral shape, a little flower petal shape, and set it aside, grab my next piece, and make another one. So go ahead and make as many as you're going to need for your own particular design. In this case, I'm going to be making some flowers. So I need to roll up one of these quilled pieces of paper for every petal. And eventually I'll also make leaves, but right now the orange will be the center and the yellow will be the petals. And in my pattern, I'm going to alternate between yellow petals and orange center and orange petals and yellow center. So again, raid your scrap bin, find as many different colors as you're going to need, and start coiling. No joke, this step is going to take a while, so you might want to put on your favorite tunes, or watch a show in the background, or maybe listen to an audiobook. When you've got a lot of pieces together, time to play around with a design that you might like. You can also discover whether you have holes that you need to fill in by adding some more quilled pieces, or maybe you want to add a new color. Anyway, this is the design portion where you're trying to figure out exactly how you want your portrait to look. As you might imagine, as you're working with all these pieces and laying them out in your workspace, the little slightest wind could really wreck the whole thing. So make sure that you've set up in a location where your paper's not going to be disturbed by people walking by a breeze through the window, or heaven forbid if you should sneeze, definitely turn away. If, on the other hand, you have a well-formed plan in your head and you're confident about the placement of the parts as you're making them, by all means go ahead and glue them down as you go. Then you won't have the fear of breezes in your space messing with your overall artwork. So when you do get to the gluing point, I recommend putting a little glue on the pad of your finger as a way to apply it to these delicate little pieces of paper. And so on the back side of each quilled piece, a little film of glue, pressing it down gently into the paper or the box that you're decorating, and leaving it to dry. One other note, you can use different size forms to get different looseness of the coils for your paper filigree. I used a heavy gauge bolt to get these more loose coils for the clouds. Have fun exploring different forms for making your coils, and I hope that you really like your final product. here's what this one looked like when it was all glued down.